It's getting to the end of March, and it's time for a little bit of maintenance on our chicken coops, basically spring cleaning. Good. Well, I'm standing in front of one of our smaller coops that we use as a breeding coop, and we've actually already cleaned this one out. We figured this was a good opportunity to show you some ideas for bedding, but also kind of how we've constructed this on the inside. Now keep in mind, it's a little damp in there right now because we literally just cleaned it out. But we do use a deep bedding method. The deep bedding method's nice because you don't have to clean it out as frequently, but we do find after an entire winter, they are a little damp. So they need a full clean out. So we'll show you what they look like inside. So there it is. Nothing super fancy. It's basically a giant wooden box. And now one thing we will sort of emphasize here, as you can see along the wall, we have, they're basically fence boards. They're a little less robust than the deck boards. Those are there so that these do have a double wall, as you can kind of see going up. And the plan on this one is to finish the double wall the same as we have over here, inside and out, because, well, it just makes it a little more cozy in here. But that double wall is good because you get very little areas where it can accumulate on the outside edge. I mean, it can a little bit around the perch here, but the idea is to keep it pretty simple with as few nooks and crannies as possible. Obviously, between the boards, you still get that. But the wood floor is built on garden ties to keep it up off the ground, which really helps. I'll show you on the outside. It really helps with the moisture in here. So the moisture that you see is essentially just from the chickens. But we've cleaned it out, and now it's time to kind of reinstate everything with some new bedding. Before we go and put the bedding back in, I wanted to show the outside because in the last coop tour, you really couldn't see it. It was under too much snow. So these are an odd sized reclaimed buildings. But essentially this is an 8x8 deck that this sits on. So you can see the garden ties that go across. And you can basically see the height that this keeps it above the ground. Where we are, where you get a lot of snow at times, especially in this past winter, this is a great idea. Now, I'm going to say it, is the deck an absolute necessity? No, but you can really see the emphasis here. Again, we showed it in the last video, but these have a very high door. And most of the year, you don't need that. But when the snow comes, that makes a huge difference in being able to actually get in and out of the coop and avoid significant issues. So that gives you kind of an idea of how high that door sits above the ground. And the chickens, if we do open this door, we have them in the pen and the run behind the coop, but if we open this door to let them out to sort of truly free range, they have no problem going up and over that for the adult breeders. Okay. So in this tote, we've actually got something that we've stored from last fall, which is just dried leaves. Now, if you have trees around your property, dried leaves can certainly be used as a form of bedding. And in this case, we just stored them because we were planning to use them as we needed them. Well, now we need some. So we're going to spread a layer of that out first, and then put some wood shavings on top of that to sort of start our deep bedding kind of all over again.
So gathering and saving your leaves to use as bedding is such a sustainable method as we're all kind of trying to strive to be less consumer driven, I suppose, or more independent. Obviously, you could produce some wood shavings if you have a wood mill and are fortunate enough to do that. For us, we don't have enough trees on the property to justify having a wood mill, so we just collect up all the poplar and maple leaves and whatnot in the fall. You do have an investment in black totes, but these black totes also double as use for other things at different times of the year. So it works out great. Just make sure they are super dry before you store them.
And another thing about the leaves, I'm actually going to take some of these in the house for our worm bin, because that was another reason why we stored them. It's a good brown matter for indoor worm bins, because well, a lot of the kitchen scraps are quite on the green side of food. So this kind of helps balance it.
While Chris is setting up the coop. The group from this, as you can see, their little hatch is shut, so they can't get back in there right now so that we can work. But boy, they're having a great time out here. We had a little bit of fresh snow this morning, but they're digging in here. And one thing I want to say is look at how beautiful this dirt has composted down. Again, we put, horse manure and other things in here in the summer months. We let them work it. And then we're going to clean this out for the garden before we start layering it in again. But that's one thing that the chickens are excellent at. Working the compost.
Well, we're also topping up our chicken dust bath for the moment because we're still pretty wet this time of year, so they don't get the chance to really dust bathe out in the runs yet. So we keep them inside, and that keeps them happy. So we're going to add this to our bucket of ash that we already have in there.
So you can see they've kind of really used up a lot of the ash. We could add a bit more ash into that, but we're just going to kind of blend these for now. They'll love it either way. It's handy to have some dry sand type product. So next, Chris is layering some shavings in here on top of the leaves, topping up the nest box. Just a nice dusting on top of these leaves. They'll work these leaves down and then we'll have to add some more.
Well, Stephanie's just going to open the coop door up. We locked them out so we could clean, and just put the flap down on the pop hole. And she'll open it back up, and then they can... I don't imagine they're going to come in right away. They're pretty happy. Oh, here comes one in with muddy feet. Two in, and right back out. Anyways, they'll appreciate this, and it'll keep them nice and clean for the beginning of the breeding season.